it so much.
And all right, Quirk had a question, and then DeFreak's up on the panel too.
It's me.
Okay. Oh, DeFreak's here. Cool. But was Space Booty? Is Space Booties a theist? Because I'm still new to the conversation.
I affirm the Trinity. I don't have any good arguments for it because I don't think it requires arguments in defense. I simply have faith, and I think if you want to have proof or evidence for your God, then you don't have faith, and you probably suck as a theist.
Okay, I mean, fair enough.
I'll be sure to tell that to Richard Swinburne.
I was going to ask you: does your God exist outside of space and time, like our universe? Does he exist outside?
Are you talking about God the Father or God the Creator?
Whatever God
What's
you
the
believe
difference?
in, you tell me.
He believes in like six gods, I guess.
Okay, so I have a very heretical view, Leo. If you would like to listen to it, or you can laugh over it. But
that's why I'm asking.
I can explain. So I believe that.
Oh, the bar just got a 2-minute mute.
Oh,
welcome to the channel, Quirk.
So I have another heretical theory that God sacrificed himself in Genesis 1 when he said, let there be light. That was the first death of God. And he split into the triune God. And so Jesus
mitosis. I was just about to say mitosis. You stole it from me.
Sacrifice was the second death. And eventually there will be
a
third death when Jesus comes again.
I was about to say cellular mitosis.
So, like, God is Pac-Man and the Holy Ghosts are like Binky and...
No, Mrs. Pac-Man.
So,
Mrs. Pac-Man.
So
you always want to call him Father or him or whatever. How do you know that he had any sort of genitalia?
I'm curious.
Why would a supernatural being have genitalia? Huh?
Because God said so. God said, "God got me a big old fat
big old
swinging dong." I don't remember Genesis saying anything about
swingity ding dong dang.
He's got that hog. That hog that swings his knees.
And onomatopoeia-phobic, thank you so much for the $10.
All I know is that Eve fucked the entire world by
it's all Eve's fault. That dumb bitch.
Adam, and then Adam double fucked the entire world. And so we need the triune God because 3 is better than 2.
And then
4 is better than 3. Around.
And then he says, might be worth getting the whole panel together to release your own cover album.
so as long as it says explicit content on the front. So
Space, know. I got to ask you, is there any position that you can't hold utilizing only faith?
Probably not.
So you recognize the issue?
Unless I mean, you can maybe say that you have faith that you don't have faith. I mean, that would be contradictory.
What would that mean?
I mean, it's asking you: if there's no position that you can't hold, or if there's no position that you can't hold based on faith alone, then you see that faith is problematic, right?
Well, it's problematic in the sense that if you require evidence or rationality or proof. Yes, I agree. It's problematic if you require that for your epistemology. I don't require
that's like every well-founded epistemology out there contains notions.
All right.
That's J Money. That's J Money doing that.
You're echoing real bad, J Money.
I just wanted to ask that.
Nobody on Fire says the Bible says God has feet, my guy.
It does.
Also, I am still completely naked. I have no more clothing or fingers to remove, but let's slam that like button and get some more likes on
if you have no more fingers, I don't want to even imagine what you're using to click your mouse with.
Yeah, that's not something you want to ask about.
You know, sometimes people have split tongues.
So I mean, like I said, it's getting late. But was there something else? I mean, DeFreak came up.
DeFreak wants your blood.
Do you have something? So,
yeah, I just think that it's totally ridiculous to qualify all of these things that you require in order to have a discussion about evidence for God. Okay, because the fact of the matter is, what you're doing is you're saying that on the science side, you would have to prove abiogenesis before you can even get to evolution. And it's the same thing, actually.
No, it's incorrect. We've already had this conversation, by the way, and no, you're wrong on that.
Yeah, and you've had a chance to think about it, and so you should think that. Yeah.
No, I said you were wrong about it then too. You just refused to let me explain. You refused to let me explain why you were wrong. You refused to allow me to explain. You refused to allow me to explain why you were wrong in that same chat. But we've already had this conversation.
We have to jump through just to qualify our evidence. Which you're critiquing, by the way. You're not.
You said you had to qualify your evidence.
I have no idea what he's talking about because we had the same conversation before, and he was trying to pigeonhole me into a position that is literally demonstrably false. So I was trying to, and I tried multiple times to explain how it's false, but he just wouldn't let me get it through because he knows he's wrong on this. So, do you have something substantive to freak, or I mean,
people don't agree with me; they're wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is absolutely not a complete misrepresentation of what I just said. So, DeFreak, do you have anything substantive? I mean, can you demonstrate your God exists without begging the question, or you in the same irrational boat as Space over here?
Question. You mean if you could ask a question at any point after I show you what I'm going to show you, it's a begging the question.
No, that's not what a begging the question. That's not what a begging the question fallacy is.
Well, if I may, DeFreak, you said you had to jump through hoops to get to whatever we're trying to get to. The only hoop that I have personally is, can you prove it? So do you have evidence to offer?
Yeah. Can you demonstrate it exists as a concrete thing without begging the question?
Yeah. If the first piece of evidence is Jesus Christ, but you won't accept that.
Oh my God.
Wait, how is Jesus evidence?
Yeah, because I already acknowledge the individual could have existed, but that doesn't logically entail that the individual was supernatural in nature. That's two separate claims. Mm-hmm. You have to back up both of them.
When he was resurrected, he was glorified, and then
but you would have to establish.
You have to establish that he was. Yeah, you have to establish that he was. You can't just claim that.
You have your work cut out for you there because miracles are not
in the Bible, and it's Matthew.
Okay, fine.
Also,
hang on.
No, that it says it in the Bible doesn't indicate that it is true. There are many things claimed in many holy texts around the world. You don't accept any of them. So no, there's no justification for me to accept your claim in your book as being true because you can't back it up.
And DeFreak, I'll let me actually do a favor for DeFreak. I will accept your claim. Jesus lived. He turned water into wine. He walked on water. He rose after 3 days. How does that equal? Therefore, God made the entire universe. Because for me, that just doesn't track.
Also, two separate claims. Yeah,
they are.
Well, he declared him in the temple.
It's irrelevant. That's a story.
And he was resurrected.
You're appealing to stories that you cannot determine the truth of. You're just accepting them as true, or you're assuming that they're true because you're begging the question of the existence of your God for it to be true. I'm asking you, how do you know that God exists for your theology to hold any water?
And when I ask you, okay, if
you're begging the question,
assuming that it's
false.
No, I'm not. Okay, if this is all he's got, I mean, I'm good.
Resurrected from the dead. How does that mean?
What we have is what we have, and what you're doing is you're presenting nothing, and then you're just debunking or trying to debunk what we actually have, which is our evidence.
Okay, hold up a sec. I haven't presented anything because the topic of discussion has been, is Christianity true? If you want me to present my worldview, just ask me what my worldview is.
It's agnostic. I get it.
It's not agnostic. I am an atheist.
Same.
And Freak, look, again, I was giving you the benefit. I was giving you every benefit to Freak. Like the equation is Jesus did these things, therefore God created the universe. And your answer was, well, he was proclaimed in the temple. Draw me a straight line from Jesus did these things, was proclaimed in the temple, therefore God. Please, I'm asking you. And I'm conceding literally every argument that you have. Show me how that connection is made.
1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, I'm assuming that this is it, Taco. I mean, there's nothing substantive here.
I think the freak froze or something.
He might have, but
he froze. But if you want to run from DeFreak, that's on you, man.
Oh, shut up, Talk. You know damn well not running from him. The guy doesn't have anything substantive to bring.
State Farm, dude.
I've got evidence for God. He
literally made the argument that because insurance companies utilize the term act of God in order to refer to non-intentional actions of nature, that the fact that they use the term act of God to lump all those together, therefore God exists. That is literally what this guy brings to the table.
I mean, Kurt said it best.
We're setting a buffet, and he's coming up and shitting all over everything. He doesn't bring anything. It's fucking worthless.
Hang on. With that, that's a brilliant argument. You know why? Because therefore, any baby that isn't born and until it's born, it doesn't have a social security number or a birth certificate. Until then, it's not a human being. Works the same fucking way.
Right. It's beyond ridiculous.
Last question before you leave, JL. Do you think if Christians actually followed the teachings of Jesus Christ as are typically espoused, would the world be a better place than the Christians that we think of today?
No. Demonstrably so.
Absolutely not.
Do you think most Christians follow Jesus Christ?
They follow. They cherry pick it. They don't follow it to a T. I mean, if they did, like, all the men would be castrated.
Hating their families.
They'd hate their families. They'd leave their families. They'd abandon the people that didn't agree with them, and they would likely cut their balls off because Jesus
take up swords to get rid of the peace.
Because Jesus advocated that he advocated for people, for eunuchs, for becoming a eunuch, so that you could better devote yourself to him without the distraction of sexual impulse.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
I like my balls.
I like my balls where they're at. So
yeah,
and there's other people that happen to like my balls too. So I mean,
my wife likes them. So
I have no proof of that. That is an epistemic claim, and I don't believe in that ontology. And
it's literally in the Bible.
Epistemic and then ontology.
It's literally in the Bible. It's taken directly from the Bible. Jesus sets down the implication. So you'd probably, if they followed it 100% to the letter, they'd have motherfuckers running around being completely antisocial and cutting their balls off and hating everybody who doesn't believe with them and like doing whatever. You'll notice that when you look at the history, like the historical record, you look at like the letters that like Pliny the Younger sent to like Emperor Trajan is how to deal with the Christians. The acknowledgement, what the general attitude before Nero ever came along was that the Christians were in just another cult that existed within the Roman Empire, and that typically their behaviors were really, really like problematic. And so they created a lot of problems. They created a lot of problems in the public space. And so in order to try and deal with that shit without just openly persecuting them, Pliny the Younger was was beseeching Emperor Trajan to try and be like, dude, these guys, like, I don't know what to do with them. So, like, do you have any like ideas?
Is off. Nero comes long before Trajan.
Was it before Trajan?
Nero is a Julio-Claudian emperor. Trajan is like in the 2nd century. Like late 1st, early 2nd century. Maybe Trajan is right after like the Flavians.
Oh, Trajan was 30 years after the fact. Nero was the one who directly persecuted them because they challenged the presumption that he himself was God. But Trajan didn't openly persecute Christians. And you're all right. Trajan came after about 30 years because Nero was 68 AD and then Trajan was 98. So you are correct on that. So I switched those two. But that was an example of that. The Christians were problematic, okay, in social interactions, and so
because they were breaking social norms, right?
Well, okay. So the problem is that when you upset the marketplace and you cause problems everywhere, the empire has to deal with you. The government's got to deal with you.
That's not what it was. That's not what it was. Pliny the Younger was only upset because any assembly that wasn't authorized by the Roman Empire was considered by default to be plotting against the Romans. Okay, so they were meeting in an unauthorized assembly.
Right, right. That's problematic within the context of the empire. So, like, how do we deal with them?
And so, unique.
Right. It wasn't unique, but it was like that's one example. Okay, so no, if people were like behaving like to the T Christians, no, it would not be better. I think Kurt and I are in agreement on that. It would not be better. Not to mention just the creation of unnecessary in-group, out-group distinctions.
As if that didn't happen before Jesus Christ?
No, of course it did.
Of course it did. That's not germane to this.
Okay.
You asked if everybody was Christian, would the world be better? And we're saying no, the evidence shows that it would not.
If everybody was Christian, that's not what I said. I said if Christians would actually follow the teachings of Jesus Christ more,
No, then they would be like really, 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 really ugly.
Yeah,
people.
it's actually a good thing that they love their families.
Of Jesus Christ?
What?
Do you think Christians today follow the teachings of Jesus Christ?
Piecemeal.
No, they love their families.
Yeah, it's salad bar. It's the vast majority of them just engage in salad bar Christianity.
I think the biggest thing is figuring out what are actually the teachings of Jesus Christ, which that's going to be.
I mentioned that earlier, earlier, that love God and love thy neighbor.
And besides, Jesus's notions, like the things that he came up, especially stuff in the Sermon on the Mount, or just rehashes within the scope of the Hebrew religion or Hebrew beliefs, just concepts that were Hellenistic in nature. So I mean, they weren't anything new. It wasn't like he came on the scene all of a sudden he broke the world with these like fucking earth-shattering concepts. That's not the way that went down. These were already known and understood concepts and like Hellenistic concepts, and he just rebranded them.
Yes, I understand. That's why I brought up the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm asking.
Well, no, the Epic of Gilgamesh is Mesopotamian. I'm talking about like Greek.
Okay, whatever.
That's what Hellenistic is.
People actually follow Jesus in the sense that love God and love thy neighbor. Would the world actually be a better place if Christians actually follow Jesus Christ? Because most of them don't, in my opinion.
I don't know how to answer that question myself. I don't live in a world where they do, so I don't know what it would look like.
Well, I assume that
Space Booties and DeFreak, I guess this is for you two. Should Christians call foreign women dogs?
Oh, this is talking about when Jesus called that woman a dog or whatever. I don't think Christians should do anything but extend the infinite love and infinite grace that God has given to them. I don't think they should spread hatred. I don't think they should spread division, and that's one of the main problems with Christianity is that they divide us from God instead of bringing us closer to God.
That's a fair answer. If we hit the super chat goal here, I'll also gift 5 taco memberships. So if you're enjoying the show, please consider supporting it with super chat, and we'll make 5 people not idiots.
Nice.
All right. Well, I mean, the freak didn't have anything, so I think that they're gone, whoever they are. So
JL, just 10 more questions.
Well, to counter the last question that was asked, is it wrong to behead infidels? Because it's not on the same level of severity, but it's the same kind of question. Like, why? The fact that you're asking this question says more about you. Obviously, no, we're not fucking barbarians.
I would fuck a barbarian.
Well, that's a D&D thing, and of course I would. I'm a bard.
Korak, you're a you watch Vox Machina, right?
Oh, absolutely. Scanlan Shorthalt is not only my hero. I have his book in the D&D game. It's canon that I have his book.
Scanlan's hand.
Scanlan's hand.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
It's canon until Disney buys it.
All right. Well, I don't think Critical Role will ever allow that to happen, but I love Critical Role too. So I guess that's going to be it for me, guys. I went over like almost a half hour over. So DeFreak didn't have anything. I guess J Money's just chilling. So thank you, Taco.
Take it easy, Jo. Go get a hot, sweet workout in. Eat your pizza.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Korak. Appreciate it.
What's up, JL?
What's up, JL?
Everything good?
Yep, just got done cleaning the floor, wiping the floor with Landon Lockiter here. So I'm spent.
Wiping the war.
I'm gonna go get something to eat now. So.
Well, if I may play you out, I'll give you a proper intro or an outro.
No.
It's not. No, wait.
No.
It's not copyrighted. This is straight off my dome. This is straight from me to you.
Okay.
This is original. Okay. It's time to go and JL slow. So let's eat some lasagna.
I'm definitely gonna get copyrighted for that.
Hey, JL.
JL,
are you gonna go get some
song?
chicken?
No, actually, I've got my wife made a pork shoulder yesterday with sweet potatoes, carrots, and regular potatoes. So I'm gonna go jam on that.
She made a pork shoulder. She got
nice. It's called J. Jail.
What the what?
I
It's
no
called
idea what's happening.
pernil. That's how you
Why
say it
are
in Spanish.
why
The
are
pork
we speaking
stuff
a
you
different
talk about.
language? I'm so
Nah, I'm
confused.
just saying, man.
Anyway,
That's how
see you,
people
JL.
say.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Later. Bye.
Have a good one, JL.
So, DeFreak, I just wanted to
So-
ask you a quick question about some stuff you do, right? So, you have all these like complicated chains of things that you believe, including that the Quran can verify the Bible, right?
Yes.
So, do you think all of those beliefs are like 100% no doubt true, or do you think some of them might not be true?
I think that it's like I said, in science we have the baked in 3% error. I think it's fair to bake in that into the text and the scriptures that we have.
What?
Spiritually, yes, it's 100% accurate.
So you understand that you think it's 100% accurate that you can use the Quran to like verify the Bible, but that other Christians don't believe that, right?
Yeah, I understand that. They also
So
don't know
how
the
do
Quran.
you so how do you like how do you make that make sense, right? Because your position disagrees with them and they would say you're wrong and you would say they're wrong. How do you like solve that problem?
Well, first of all, you could easily justify the Quran and Muhammad by Genesis 16, and you can also justify being born again Christian and spiritual gifts by Revelation 10:19, or I'm sorry, 19:10 C, and then you could also justify the Quran by it's referencing the Bible all the time and Moses and Jesus and the gospel, and there's even a chapter in the Quran called the great news or the good news, talk about the gospel. So
Yeah. So, but you see that virtually no Muslims and virtually no Christians would agree with that position. So the chances that it's 100% correct seem very low to me.
well, just because they didn't get it right doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
But I mean, you understand you need to be 100% on almost all of those for the conjunction of the multiple conditions to all be true together.
I mean,
Like
to
once you
me,
have,
it's
like, let's
obvious.
say you
So.
assign them 90% probability. If you assign 90% probability to a conjunction of 5 things, then it starts to drop below 50% likelihood.
Okay, so what's the contention though? Because, like I said,
So for your
they
position to be
substantiate each
true,
other. They're great witness of each other, as far as I can tell.
right? But for your position to be true, all of those things would have to be 100% like they can't be wrong.
Okay.
And if even if they're 90% likely, if you have to stack 5 of them on each other for them to make sense of each other, then the likelihood that they're correct is down to below 50%.
But I don't think you could find anything that's flat out wrong, except for maybe a less than a handful of verses that may have been modified in the Quran.
Okay, so you are saying that some of them are not 100%. Some of them are like 90%.
Well, I would say again, just like in science, you have the 3% error baked into every experiment that you conduct. You have the same for the physical text that we have for both, and then I believe on top of that, the Quran has probably about 3 verses that have been modified.
Okay. So what your position is that your understanding, which is relatively unique to you and a few other people, is correct, but the Patriarch of Constantinople and the heads of all the Christian churches and the Pope all get it wrong, and so do all the mullahs and all the imams in Islam.
Well, Constantinople was before Muhammad, so that wouldn't be irrelevant and not apply. But yeah, I mean,
No, it wouldn't. There's a Patriarch of Constantinople today.
Okay. Well, they're just not looking into it, and I think they would agree that it is the God of Abraham. I think they've progressed far enough to get that far, as I could tell. But The thing is with Muslims is that from the time they are suckling from the mother's nourishment, they're told that 3 doesn't equal 1. And so it's just nearly impossible to get them to believe that, Jesus Christ that God could do anything except Jesus Christ. So that's the challenge. It's a mental block, just like there's stumbling blocks for the Jews accepting Jesus.
So do you think that the Messianic Jews have it right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about when you say Messianic Jews, you're talking about born again Christians that are Jewish, like
Yeah. But they also still keep the Torah rules and keep kashrut.
Okay, yeah. As long as they believe in Jesus Christ, then yes, they've got it right.
They feel like they have an obligation as people who believe in the whole text to follow kashrut and also believe in Jesus. But most Christians don't follow kashrut. But like under your understanding, if you see all the Abrahamic faiths as correct, you should be keeping kashrut or halal, which are very similar, right?
Well, but I'm not Jewish, and you don't have to. Why would I follow something that's totally unfamiliar to me? When
you follow the Quran, right? So the Quran recommends halal, which is very similar to kashrut.
I believe that I believe it's revelation from God,
which tells you have to keep halal.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even in the Quran, it says that God restricted the diet of the Jews for, slandering Mary and other things like that. So he obviously, if he put them under the yoke of the law again, being, those being Muslims, he's doing the same thing with them.
Okay. Do you understand that like Mary did not exist when the Jews got the rules of kashrut?
No, I don't even know what that kashrut is, actually.
That's keeping kosher.
Oh, okay. Well, wait a second. Am I not? Yeah, I mean, the Jewish law was given before Mary.
Lifestyle existed long before Mary. So the Quran saying that their dietary rules are because they slandered Mary doesn't make any sense. It's like saying that Bill Clinton faced impeachment because he was slandering Donald Trump.
Well, the thing is, God is eternal, and so he knew that they would do that, and so that's what he did.
So you're saying God retroactively punished the Jews for slandering Mary by hundreds of years before that, giving them the kosher rules?
I think it would be actually called preemptively, but yeah.
And so the Quran is still right, even though it's completely backwards.
Are they not allowed to eat pork?
Well, Muslims are not allowed to eat pork.
Right, neither.
So the Quran can't be making fun of the Jews for not eating pork.
And shellfish and other things.
Well, Muslims aren't supposed to eat shellfish, or at least certain types.
Right. So basically, for whatever reason, I'm not exactly sure why. It's just something I should probably look into. But he's allowed the Muslims to, fall back under the yoke of the law again for whatever reason.
What about foreskins? Which group is correct? The Christians, the Jews, or the Muslims?
I think it doesn't really matter, but I do know that.
So then you disagree with the Muslims.
What do they think? Because I
they
know
think that all Muslim men, when they reach adulthood, should be circumcised.
No, they're circumcised at if they're practicing or whatever, they're doing it at the 8th day, just like the Mosaic Law.
You're so full of shit. I cannot believe it.
Why do you say that?
I've lived in a Muslim country, dude.
You're telling me that Muslims
have a whole celebration when they're like 12 or 13.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, you're talking about like in Africa.
Circumcision at that, not in Africa, in the whole Muslim world.
I don't believe that's true.
It is true. They don't circumcise babies.
Well, I was born into a Muslim family and I was circumcised as a baby.
Well, your family was not in a Muslim country then.
Well, we're Turkish and they're pretty Muslim.
I've lived in Turkey, dude. They don't circumcise as babies.
Well, I mean, let's not talk about female circumcision, but
I'm talking about males. Nobody said anything about females.
Well, I didn't know if you had a whatever.
So
we're
talking
about males actually, but yeah. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. But I don't think you're telling me that every Muslim man in the Middle East or wherever are getting circumcised as adults. That's absurd.
When they become like 12 or 13, not as adults, but we see them as teenagers. But
That's
it's a rite
thing,
of
and
passage
usually in
of
Africa.
to adulthood. No,
That's
it's not just in Africa.
And it's a cultural thing. It's not happening with the Arabs or in the Middle East or Turkey, which is kind of a part of Europe.
It is happening in Turkey. I guarantee it.
It's definitely not.
They have a whole fucking celebration, dude. They rent a convertible red Cadillac and drive around in it and blow horns and throw streamers.
Well, maybe that's not I'm telling you, that's not the mainstream, modern
it is
Muslims.
Freaking mainstream. Trust me.
Definitely not. Definitely not, dude. Definitely not.
Well, either way.
Do you know how many complications there are if you were to do that, like as a standard
Yes,
practice?
I literally do know.
It's not happening.
And do you know how they do it in Turkey?
No.
They take them to a urologist, and the urologist puts them under anesthesia and does the procedure in an operating room.
And not to put too fine a point on it, but it seems like at least one person in the room is pro-genital mutilation. And
all right. There are a couple back-to-back super chats here. Nobody on Fire says Ephesians 5:1, be imitators of God as dearly loved children. Call foreign women dogs or not. Unalive foreign infants or not. Unalive by she-bear. Thank you, Nobody on Fire. And then Onomatopoeiophobic says, please donate to the Freak so they can purchase more straws to grasp. First time hearing Kurt turn the screws. Yeah,
I'll put in my cash app too.
And we are at 16 out of 20 super chats right now with about 15 or 25 minutes remaining. I will do 5 taco memberships if we hit that goal. So if you're enjoying the show, please consider supporting it. A good way to spend super chat money is requesting pigeon verses or Bible verses in pigeon.
Hey, Kurt, real quick. Don't you think it's a little bit odd that the Muslims would follow that, if it were the case, that they would follow that tradition of the Jews and then they still don't believe in the same God? Apparently. Isn't that a little odd?
Are you saying that you think Muslims and Jews have a different God?
No, I'm saying they do have the same God, but you're saying that the Bible and the Quran is congruent, but yet they're following the circumcision congruency, but yet you're saying that the text isn't congruent, but yet we still don't understand why the leadership of these churches and these, religions aren't being congruent as well. It's actually a mystery that is kind of weird.
Do Muslims think that their Allah is the God of the Old Testament and the New Testament?
Okay, somebody paid good money for you to have more straws to grasp, and you're not utilizing that. God damn it.
Okay, if Muslims themselves believe that their God is the God of the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament, then they would want to follow the rules in the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament, right?
You would think, but you know what they say, don't you, all the time? It's been corrupted. It's false. It's even Minar last night saying, it's
but
right.
I don't know
the Freak
about.
Got a 2-minute mute. The Freak's out for the count for a couple minutes. Thank you, Cody.
I don't want to say anything about Minar, but my understanding is that in Islam, it is considered like really unusual, I think, not to be circumcised. And like, I don't want to talk out of school, but when I lived in Turkey, it was considered highly unusual for someone to not be circumcised.
Islam is just sick, though. You know what I'm saying? The Prophet Muhammad, then he like sleep with like some 9-year-old girl, something like that, 7-year-old girl.
Hey, let's definitely not talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
YouTube don't bring that up on stream ever.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. YouTube does not like that at all.
So
if I can just use this quick little off ramp to say, Taco, if I ever break into song, because I understand you're serious about this, I will never use copyrighted material. It'll be 100% from me to you and 100% original. So
okay, cool. I just know how they are with even like chords.
I get it.
Tacos, are you old enough to remember the really old Taco Bell jingle from like the 80s?
The Yo Quiero
Taco
Taco
Bell. Taco Bell.
Oh.
I just swore off doing copyrighted material, and then you
I
bring
didn't
up the
sing it.
commercial.
I didn't sing it.
No, it's
I didn't sing it. I just said it.
You're giving me the itch. Like I want to play that because I know exactly how it goes.
Why?
I don't know if that commercial's on YouTube or not, and I don't know if there's like a way to like fair use that shit, but that would be funny on the channel.
And I won't risk it.
You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
There's not a way to fair use it, unfortunately.
I am not going to run for the border.
Like if this was if this was a vertical, I wouldn't care because verticals literally make like 20 cents per 1,000 views, but these are actually a large portion of my income right now. And then Nobody on Fire says, "Da Freak, answer my chat when you're back, you goof." Let me pull it.
Is that an unmute?
No. It just his time ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it back on screen so Da Freak can answer it.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the difference.
Ephesians 5:1.
Oh, is that? Oh, never mind.
Okay. Call women. You know, he didn't directly call the lady a dog, right? I mean, he was making a metaphor as to who he was supposed to be serving at the time, which everyone knows. Well, everyone want to that he was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel, right? But it was a metaphor. It's not like he said, "Oh, you're a dog, get away from me," because the fact of the matter is, he used her as an example to say that, hey, look at this woman has more faith than all of you Israelites, and he gave her what she wanted. So how is calling her a dog and giving her what she wanted some sort of insult? It doesn't make any sense.
So if a waitress brings you your food and says something terrible to you, it's not an insult?
It's not about the insult. Like the other guy said, he healed her daughter immediately after that.
No, he healed her of a uterine flux, dude.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Da Freak, Turksan, Türkçe anlıyor musun?
I don't know any Arabic or anything, or Turkish or anything.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I'm third generation American.
Totally, I don't use Arabic numerals.
What was that?
All right. He's saying he uses Arabic numerals, which are, of course, English numerals now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, okay. Calling a woman a dog and then healing her daughter, which was...
Again, not her daughter.
What are you talking about?
What?
That's when he called her a dog. That was the lady that was a Samaritan.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm confusing it. You're correct. That's right.
It's no biggie.
It's the Samaritan.
Oh, and Da Freak, he was also asking about unalive for an infant or not, and unalive by she-bears or not.
I think the infant thing only had to do with the Amalekites, and God said that He had judged them, and their unrighteousness had full come, and so they were judged. Okay, plus Israel had to be established. So there was a couple of reasons.
Did you say they had full come?
Right. That's how it's said in the King James Version. So, and then unalive by a she-bear. I'm assuming he's talking about Elisha or something, and the two
and
mockers
the kids
of the
who were
head.
making fun of him. It wasn't two; it was a bunch of kids.
Well, it was two. It was
40 of them.
It was two she-bears that attacked like the 42 children.
Okay.
After making fun of Elisha's bald head.
I just think that, God honors those who honor him. So.
Yeah, that's another part of why I don't believe that Yahweh is God the Father.
Oh, I wanted to ask Space Booties, are you familiar with like Gnostic Christianity, where Yahweh is the demiurge from a mistake from Sophia, and now we have to come in and redeem what, like they take it that Yahweh, the bad guy, created everything. It's just that, okay, the super god has to come in, send his son, and redeem creation from the demiurge sort of stuff.
I'm not familiar with Sophia. I have heard people mention Marcionites, as well as Demiurge, and that, yeah, that's more of a view that I take of Yahweh for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about none of that, man. Like, I think that all that is just humans.
Because it wasn't what you were taught growing up, as I assume you're Christian.
I mean, that's all human beings just writing what they want, That's how that goes.
Right, just like the Bible was written by men. Even though it was inspired by God, it was still written by men. And do you think that men had some sort of reasons to bastardize God's inspired word to fit their narratives?
Oh, what? Like,
do you think God literally came down and wrote every single piece of the Bible by himself?
Is just something that made by man to control.
Well, I'm gonna give you a hint here.
On.
No, God did not come down and write the Bible for us. He inspired the Bible, and men bastardized it.
Of course, Namek. That's why you got to bring him dead carcasses and tribute that to him, or else you're disrespecting God.
I have a question. Since you take it that Yahweh is the bad guy and Jesus is the good guy and his father is the good guy, what's your take on, do you like to have a theory of atonement? Because what fits this well is some sort of ransom theory where the father sends Jesus.
Jay got muted for 2 minutes. Sorry.
Sucks for you, Jay. That was God working in action.
Wow. Cody's just putting down the band hammer tonight. I was the first victim.
So, in response to the question,
I wasn't done.
I'm pretty much a universalist. I think we all come back to God at the end. We will be separated from God for a long time, the further we move away from God. I also don't have a problem with annihilationism. I mean, obviously, I don't know what God has in store for us, but
yeah, my question is about, that's cool though. I appreciate the information, but I'm interested in like your model of the atonement. If it's like, maybe it's like some sort of ransom theory where the father sends the son as like an exchange, that the bad guy Yahweh gets his pleasure in killing the son, and in exchange he gives the creation he made to the father.
Well, so I mentioned it, and maybe I didn't. I think that Earth was God's beta test, to an extent, right? Because clearly God screwed up more than once with the killing of the infants and the flood. God screwed up more than once, and he says in the Old Testament that he regrets his decision to create blah blah blah. This is, to me, fairly good rhetoric to argue that Yahweh was a lesser god that was given control of Earth after God created everything.
Okay.
So yeah.
But does So like but like for the atonement, like what's Jesus dying for? Is it
Welcome
to
back.
satisfy the demiurge, and like he gets to buy or redeem the creation that he gave to Yahweh?
Well, when Jesus Christ comes, he says that well, maybe he doesn't say specifically, but he does create a new covenant, right? We can argue about fulfillment of the law, blah blah blah, but I believe that Jesus did come to separate us from Yahweh's bullshit laws, and teach us a different way of living than that.
Did he have to die for that, or was that just like some big misunderstanding?
I think he did have to die for it, and here's my reasoning. If he died at 95 years old as a normal, whatever you call it, preacher, wannabe messiah, blah, 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 would we still be talking about him 2,000 years later?
So the whole story is just sort of for providential reasons, you think?
Well, it could, like, if you want to go with a naturalistic explanation, it could very well be that this amalgamation of Jesus Christ was a bunch of different messiahs that claimed to be, or a bunch of different prophets or whatever that claimed to be the Messiah. That could very well be. However, someone died on the cross. I don't think this entire story was all made up.
Well,
some part of it has to be true, right?
If I could go back to something you said, Space Booties, just like a minute ago, where you said you don't know what God's plan is. Do you recall saying that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What if God's plan is to cash in on the Bible verse that no man is righteous or worthy, not even one, and just like the universe, which is a vast void with a tiny spark of life in it, was all just a backdrop for like 10 people that he wanted to hang out with in heaven, and he waited for millennia to be born, and the rest of us just get to go to hell. You don't know what his plan is, so what do you say if it turns out that's the plan?
That sucks.
Right? And you worship a God where it's like, hey, maybe it just sucks for like 99.89% of us. You worship, you're going to worship that? Seriously? That's your pitch?
Well, okay. First of all, you're setting me you're setting me up in a way that
I'm using your words. You said you don't know what God's plan is, which could include this horrifying plan. And given the fact that he drowned entire humanity and all of the flora and fauna because he fucked up his own plan, it's not that far from reality to be what if that's the plan?
I'm not sure you're entirely tracking, because I already stated that I don't really believe that Yahweh is God the Father, right?
Oh, God. Okay, whatever the creator is, it's a shit plan.
Okay, and real fast, we have a super chat from Onomatopoeiophobic. Boot Scoot, are you a prophet? All you're saying is, I have this idea I like. Why is your interpretation of any of this worth anything?
It's not. You should not listen to me.
Gotcha. And 3 more $5 super chats in the next 8 minutes. Let me see. 8 minutes and 37 seconds, and I'll drop 5 taco memberships. I'll make 5 of you not idiots.
Also,
for the super chat.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be one of the 10 because I bought a Powerball ticket. I'm pretty sure that's going to hit too.
You got better odds than a God existing.
So I have another question, because you take it like maybe it's like pragmatically true, because it like helps people accomplish goals and get along together. So could it be that maybe salvation is the friends we made along the way?
Sure. I don't have a problem with that.
What do you mean? Salvation.
Salvation is what?
Friends? Yeah, that's you got me there. What you said?
It's Chandler and Rachel. All those people that I'm not going to sing any songs about.
How you doing?
No, how you doing?
Huh?
Okay, so you won't get copyrighted. This is the reverse friends from Bizarro World.
Bro, let's just stop playing music, dude. No more playing music in the middle of the stream. It's done. No more.
Okay.
I just don't want to risk it. Come on. Stop
Fair
trying
enough.
to push the boundary.
In the immortal words of Roberto Duran, no mas.
Okay, fair enough. I won't. I promise.
Although Taco Bell did have a Live Mas logo for a while.
Don't even bring that shit up, man. Little
I
Richard
do
was in a
appreciate
commercial.
you being up here and your musical genius. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want to risk any of my videos being demonetized because this is my sole source of income right now.
I totally get it. And that's why I'm doing, like, I didn't even do parody or satire. I'm doing something that's completely unrelated. But if you want zero musical
Just zero music unless I know for sure it works, right? Which I don't.
Okay.
And this is not the stream to do that on.
Fair enough.
Hey, just add a N and an I to your first name, and you could be the Quranic the Bard, and you can, hi, all that good stuff.
He got muted for 2 minutes. Thank you, Cody.
So I'm curious, Jay Money, what is your take on Space Booty's position?
You're asking me?
I asked Jay Money, but you can give yours because he's not saying anything.
Well, it's possible, Book of Melchizedek explains a lot of these different things, and it refers to.
Are you talking about the Melchizedek Pesher from the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Right. The 9th chapter of the history of the universe. Yes, I'm referring to that. And it calls God a lot of different things. The Eternal One, it calls him Yahweh, it calls him Ali, it calls him a bunch of different things. And we also see that throughout the Bible, when it talks about Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah, there's like 9 of them that, and it's all kind of either designating a aspect of God or the experience that a man or a group of people had with God, or a place even sometimes, or the angel of the Lord, or a manifestation of God somehow. Of course, we know that the one that revealed himself to Moses called himself I am that I am.
Oh shit! Piano Man just got 5 more minutes. Okay. I'll get that added on here in just a second. Thank you so much for the super chat. And we have 3 minutes remaining, and I don't know how many, 2 more $5 plus super chats, and let's hit that goal, and we'll get 5 gifted memberships out to you guys.
And excuse me, we also see in Zechariah, actually, we see the angel of the Lord pray to the Lord. So, God is a very complex thing, and we're not going to fully understand what all that means until we get there, if ever. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so I have a question for you, and then if Space Booties wants to chime in, I'd be curious about his opinion too. Paul is really nebulous about who his Christ is and doesn't really ever lay it out very clearly. But at one point, he's very clear that Christ was a rock in the desert during the Exodus. So how do you view that? Like, do you think that rock in the desert was Jesus, just as Paul says?
Well, I don't recall ever hearing about that. And I'm sure that Paul wasn't during the Exodus. So, I'm going to need the
Paul
verse.
wrote long after the Exodus. That's correct.
Right. Do you know the verse?
Well, it's in 1 Corinthians. I'm not sure.
Also, there's verses in the Psalms and stuff that say, like, the Lord is my rock.
It's 1 Corinthians
10:4. Yeah.
did all drink the
So
same.
actually, tacos, can we get that in the proper translation? 1 Corinthians 10:4?
Sure. And 1 minute left, and 2 more $5 super chats to hit the goal, and we've got 5 super or memberships being gifted. What was it? Corinthians what?
1 Corinthians 10:4.
10:4,
good buddy.
4. And they all when drink the same water that God spirit when give them for drink. What they when drink when come out of one big rock that God spirit when give them. Just like that rock was the airy place they go. Christ was there too. Oh shit! The freak just got a 10-minute mute.
That should count as 2 $5 super chats.
We'll see.
55 seconds left.
How do you?
We got
super chat in, boys.
Oh, we did it. Mute space. Okay, say God is dumb or you're muted for 5 minutes. We got mutes all over the place right now.
Worth it.
Say God is dumb.
God is dumb.
Okay,
Oh,
you're not muted.
He's not muted. Okay.
All right. And then we got 5. Thank you so much for the super chats and the support, everybody. I'm gonna drop 5 memberships right now. So let's see who. Crap, wrong button.
So
too many buttons. Wait a minute. I'm doing some gifting real fast. All right. Let's see who got membership. So we got some new not idiots. We got Machine Man. Machine Man is a not idiot now. Native Atheist is a not idiot. Discordant Rhyme is a not idiot. Rodent No Last Name is a not idiot. And JP is a not idiot. Welcome to being not idiots, people. Enjoy the taco memberships and thank you for the support, everybody.
Yes, thank you. I think Taco does a great job here. In regards to 1 Corinthians 10:4, as I read it from the KJV, it's not talking about a physical rock.
Have you read the Exodus story?
Well, I'm reading 1 Corinthians 10:4 in the
but have you read the story it's referring to?
Specify a physical rock.
Have you read the story it's referring to in the Exodus?
I don't know, something about parted Jews go away, Pharaoh chases. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah.
I read all of it. Yeah, I'm an expert on the Bible.
I don't think you've read that particular story, but it's definitely in the story a physical rock that springs forth water that allows the Israelites to survive because they were going to die of thirst.
And Moses whacked him in the face, I think.
Right. Moses hit Jesus in the face with a stick if Jesus was the rock. So do you view Paul as part of the controlling scripture for you, or do you just follow the Gospels?
Welcome back, Korak.
So that's actually a really excellent question. So I've heard that a lot of people that follow Christianity are really rather more to be considered Paulites rather than followers of Christ. I don't know. I do love 1 Corinthians, especially, but I'm more familiar with the earlier chapters. But I mean, again, I'm reading right now through 1 Corinthians 10, and it says, "And did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock," which is capitalized, "that followed them, and that rock," capitalized, "was Christ." So I don't.
Yeah, that's all in English. There are no capital letters in the Greek.
How you are saying that this is a physical rock. It's clearly.
I am not saying Paul necessarily thought that, but I am saying that the story of Exodus that he is referencing for sure is a physical rock.
So where else does it reference it? So I can look.
Oh, you want to read the Exodus passage?
Sure. I mean, you only brought up 1 Corinthians 10:4. Where else is it?
I think it's 17:6.
17:1-7.
And nobody in fire has a comment. Till Moses touched Jesus' face with his rod. Thank you for the super chat. You guys always have. Oh man, do you want that read in Pigeon?
It's a lot of verses.
I'm not gonna read that then.
Okay, yeah. So it. Okay. So you're saying that it's specifically Exodus 17:6.
1-7.
Well, specifically 6, right? 17.
It's actually no. It's earlier. It's earlier than that.
Okay, there's an earlier one. Okay.
No, I mean it's like the whole story starts at 1 and goes all
right,
the way
but
to 7.
It specifically mentions the rock in 17:6.
Well, the rock is
right.
The rock is in verse 6, and
yes, that's what I'm saying.
But the story doesn't make sense unless you read the previous verses.
Okay. Okay.
So the key thing is that the Lord says in the text that he's standing there in front of the rock at Horeb, right?
Sure. Yes, I am reading.
So isn't that a very clear-cut like reference to the God of the Hebrew Bible being Jesus? At least if you accept the Pauline.
Nope.
Okay, so I'm curious how you like figure that out.
I think it actually makes sense.
These are great questions. I enjoy it.
From his perspective, though, it would make sense because, like, if Yahweh's like the bad guy, he probably would command Moses to hit Jesus.
But why would Jesus have been there in the first place if he's not the son of Yahweh?
When did I ever say that he's the son of Yahweh?
You say he's not. That's my point. So why would he have been there? I'm saying Paul clearly puts Jesus in that story,
really
right?
Hard to dissect where you are making this link.
Okay, so the link is that Paul, I assume do you think Paul is talking about Jesus of the Gospels, or do you think Paul is talking about someone else?
I think, well, especially in Corinthians, Paul's letters, right, to other churches, when he is trying to preach about Christ, what do you think that he's going to do? Is he going to try and maybe use things that people have believed in for thousands of years?
Okay, the Corinthians are Greeks.
Use them as allegories?
But the Corinthians are Greeks.
Not like reasonable?
No, because they're Greeks. They're not. This is not like some Hebrew community that's been there a long time. Do you know the history of Corinth in that era? In fact, the Corinthians actually technically mostly weren't even Greek, although they probably mostly spoke Greek by then. Corinth had been completely destroyed and abandoned. And then Corinth had been rebuilt like in the 1st century BCE as a Roman colony, like literally stocked with Latin speakers originally. They'd probably all like accustomed themselves to speaking Greek by then, but this wasn't some like place where there had been Hebrews for thousands of years. This is Corinth.
Okay.
So when Paul's writing to them, he's explaining what the Hebrew scriptures are about to some degree. Mm-hmm. They're like new Christians.
Booty's got a 2-minute mute. Thank you so much on a Montepio.
Okay.
Thank
you. They're new Christians. They don't know like this the way modern Christians do, or the way again, probably the average person living in Palestine didn't really have the kind of knowledge that people do today of the scriptures, because books were incredibly expensive and learning to read was also incredibly expensive. And mostly you would just hear whatever the reading happened to be at the particular ceremonies that you went to, that you could pay attention enough to like keep in your mind with whatever mistakes you were going to make in your mind after you heard it. So it wasn't like they had this deep understanding of these stories the way like people who live now have heard them over and over and read them at home and had copies of the books. This was mostly like they had at best surface level knowledge. So I think he's clearly placing Jesus back into like the Hebrew scriptures in a way that allows the new Christians to understand that the Hebrew scriptures are part of what he's teaching. And again, I think the Marcionites obviously used 1 Corinthians.
Welcome back to Free.
Like obviously it was understandable in a Marcionite lens. I'm just curious how you view that. I mean, is there a Marcionite way to see that makes it all make sense besides that like Yahweh?
Actually, I'm not sure about that, but I think you're probably correct, Kurt, in that he's tying in kind of the Holy Spirit aspect of God and Jesus and the Father, all being kind of one. So like the pillar of fire and the smoke and the rock or whatever, that was the thing that was following them, as it says in that verse in 1 Corinthians 10:4, whatever. It talks about the fire that was following them or whatever, and the rock and all those different things that I mentioned earlier.
Welcome back,
those are all manifestations
and can somebody time out Maverick for 2 minutes in chat, please? That would be greatly appreciated.
While you're covering the admin stuff, I will bid you adieu and good night, gentlemen. It's always been a pleasure. Tacos, I do understand and take seriously I'm not trying to fuck with you, so I won't do any musical.
No, I know.
Later, Cora.
Anyway,
it's just not the same level of importance for you.
No, so I totally get it.
Have a good one. No, God bless.
Have a good night. Well,
Later.
God bless. Odin bless. Odin bless you all. Good night.
Did somebody get Maverick, or do I need to?
Take care.
Looks like somebody got Maverick. Thank you.
Real quick, Cafe, you're so full of it. It's unbelievable. Secondly, BS. I'm not saying there were no synagogues. There definitely were. I'm saying Corinth wasn't some ancient Jewish homeland. And I'm saying that even people who were Jewish who went to synagogue probably didn't know the scripture deeply in and out in the way that people do today.
Corinth, so Corinth was at that time a lot like Athens. It has like this philosophical tradition, and around this time they were getting like skeptics or like pluralists, and so he didn't even have much problem evangelizing in Corinth. The problem with Corinth was they were like, okay, cool, that's cool. And then after he left, someone else came, and then they followed whatever the next guy sort of told them. And so he wants to get them away from thinking like about sort of speeches, like convincing speeches and stuff. He's like, don't listen to me or the next guy. Just listen to God, I guess. Like, and he's sort of making arguments as to, like, it wasn't like with good words. It's just like the power or whatever. And he's just like sort of trying to keep them to hold fast and not, float around everywhere. They probably didn't know too much about.
Yeah, he has that problem with the Galatians too. Like, again, he keeps complaining that people keep following other people and getting upset about it. So it's not like they had a deep knowledge of Christian theology, that they were completely locked into the faith, or probably that they even had a deep knowledge of Jewish understandings.
But in Galatians, it was like specifically, I would say Ebionites.
I thought they followed Apollos too.
No, Apollos
is that
a
Corinthians?
Good guy. Yeah, in Corinthians, Apollos is a good guy.
Well, that's if you read it from, if you read the Acts story into Corinthians, then yes, he's a good guy. But I don't think it's clear from the text that Paul thinks he's necessarily a good guy, just in Corinthians by itself.
No, he said, I planted, Apollos watered.
So
right, but then he says, some of you say you're from me, some of you say you're from Cephas, and some of you say you're from Apollos.
Well, yeah, because they're like sectarian, because they're following like orators, because they're coming from sort of that tradition of Corinth and Athens. The same thing.
Yes, I'm getting it from the fact that literacy was incredibly rare. That's why.
But it's like to the point of like this particular section, they probably didn't have a firm grasp of the Hebrew texts.
Exactly. And they might have had a copy of the Septuagint and they might have had readings from it, but they wouldn't be able to read it through and through unless they were like either a priest or like specifically wealthy enough to own a copy.
I think though maybe some Jewish or like Messianic Christians, because he's saying like our fathers were under the cloud and came through the sea, so I mean he's like talking directly to Jews.
Yeah, and right. I completely agree.
And he's saying that these things are just like the types and shadows of the thing to come, because they're like, oh, we already have it. Like, what are you telling us? He's like, no, there's more to it. Like the Exodus, all of these things were just foreshadowing of what I'm bringing you now, sort of thing.
Well, it's in 1 Corinthians that he says that unless you're a Christian, you can't really understand the Hebrew scriptures, right?
I'm not sure where it says that.
Yeah, I think it's in 1 Corinthians that he says the scriptures are veiled until people become Christians.
I would love to see the verse. I'm not trying to disagree necessarily, but as far as this verse goes, I mean, we can all agree that culture is shared and culture is reinterpreted. So is this really an argument against God just because Paul uses scripture that he is aware of in his writings in the epistles? Is that really like, oh, this is an actual rock in Paul's writings?
I don't think it's an argument against God. I think it's an argument against Yahweh. I think it's an argument against Yahweh being somebody who Jesus was not related to.
Argument against Yahweh.
Jesus is
definitely
Yahweh.
Not an argument against God. It's an argument against understanding Jesus as somebody who was against the God of the Hebrew Scriptures.
Just because Paul is relating Jesus Christ to the rock that is in Exodus, that's an argument.
He's placing Jesus at the center of the Exodus story, right?
Okay, so is that Paul simply trying to relate scripture that he might find important, or
but the God of the Exodus story is Yahweh?
Or are you trying to make it in a framework where the Bible is infallible and inerrant? Or like, what are you trying to do?
No, I don't. Do you really think I think that?
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think that at all. I think they're all stories told to prove a point that have, at best, limited historical veracity.
And And I agree. So what's the dispute?
What I'm trying to say is, like, you're identifying as this bespoke version of Christianity, and I get that. But how do you square textual evidence within the textual tradition that seems to discount that?
Why do I need to square it?
I guess to think that what you believe makes sense, but I guess that's
I don't believe in the Bible, dude.
So in what sense do you see yourself as Christian?
I believe in Jesus Christ.
But how would you know about him without the Bible?
And he was resurrected. What more do I
need?
Do I need to believe every single word of the Bible? And I would follow up with, okay, which Bible? Which books?
Okay,
which translations? Right. Which canons? Do I have to believe in KJV, or can I believe in Hebrew and Greek? Do I have to believe in 66?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What he's saying is true. Like, you don't have to believe the whole Bible to be a Christian or to have.
So just to be clear, how do you know that any of the story is true if you?
I don't. That's why it's called faith.
No, but there's evidence. There's evidence like the empty tomb and stuff, right? Like
the empty tomb is a story in a book, just like the crucifixion.
No, but it's accepted by, it's got a historical basis too, right? Like the fact that
not really.
Even there's like not a single named person who ever put pen to paper who's otherwise known to history that describes anything happening at the empty tomb.
Many years.
No, let me finish, guys. Right. Even if you accept the Gospels as testimony, the Gospels do not contain an eyewitness to the resurrection. There is not a single eyewitness account of the resurrection of Jesus. There's an eyewitness account of the resurrection of Jairus' daughter. There's an eyewitness account of the resurrection of Lazarus.
John is an eyewitness.
But there's not of Jesus.
Oh my goodness! Please, TBS, do not make Christians look bad here. I'm doing my best to make Christians not look stupid.
How is John
and you're just pooping on all the things that I'm trying to
explain to me how he's not an eyewitness.
I'm saying John's gospel doesn't describe the resurrection.
No. I'm not saying he describes the resurrection, but he describes.
Right, he has eyewitness testimony to the resurrection of Lazarus.
Eyewitness testimony. Hold on. His eyewitness testimony of the risen Jesus.
Yeah, that's not a witness to the resurrection. Jesus could have.
We don't need a witness to the resurrection. We need a witness to the fact that he rose.
One second. TBS, are you familiar with what hearsay is?
No, John is an eyewitness to the risen Christ, not to the resurrection.
What evidence do you have of that, TBS?
He wrote the book, the Gospel of John. He wrote the first letter.
Where did he get his information from to write that book?
He's the eyewitness.
How do you know that?
Because he says that and it's reliable. It's like
where?
Reliable.
No, John doesn't say he's an eyewitness.
Say that? Hold on.
He does. Yes.
That's false.
Absolutely does.
TBS. No, hold on, Kurt.
He doesn't.
Kurt, hold on. TBS. Where does it say?
First John. He says it.
Where? What verse?
First John, chapter 1, verse 1 and 2 or something.
Oh, 1 and 2 or something. Okay.
You're talking about the Johannine prologue is just like the.
No, I'm talking about First John Gospel, the letter.
Yeah, the First John prologue is very similar to the John 1 and 2 in the Gospel of John.
It's also First John is like basically Genesis. So, I'm sorry that you cannot accept that the Gospels were not written by anyone who witnessed Jesus Christ. And also, I would ask you this.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
That's not true.
Real quick. I would ask you this, TBS.
How do you know that?
Why did only maybe perhaps one of the disciples actually follow Jesus Christ to his
real fast? TBS, you are muted for 2 minutes unless you say onomatopoeia 3 times real fast.
Okay. Onomatopoeia.
All right. Thank you for the super chat. Looks like you're good to go for a little bit until somebody force mutes.
Thank you. Anyway, so TBS, why did most of the disciples puss out on following Jesus Christ to the cross? Are they just fucking pussies? Why did all the women follow them? Did those mans not have a fucking dick or balls? What was their fucking problem? Huh?
Wow, dude, the cringe level in this way. He just went from having like an intelligent conversation about historical evidence.
Because you're too fucking retarded to get it with actual conversation. So I'm trying to stop fucking mouth.
Wow, you're such an erudite
sense of history
argument.
Here.
Such a well justified logical argument.
Canadian, so what the fuck do I give?
Is that like anyway? Look, all I'm saying is, John's letter states that he's an eyewitness, and he wrote the Gospel of John. Therefore, he's an eyewitness who wrote the Gospel of John.
You're an eyewitness. Actually, they're saying that was too slow, Toronto Bible Study. So you're muted for 2 minutes. The audience decided that was not quick enough.
Anyway, Kurt, at least you and I can agree that none of the Gospels were written by eyewitnesses. It is hearsay, and therefore we have to take it on faith and not as evidence, right?
Yeah. Just looking at 1 John, like that is not an endorsement of the gospel.
He doesn't even know what the fuck
in any way.
About. So
like,
I agree with you. And again, I spent over a decade, 10 to 15 years as an agnostic atheist. I ran through a lot of these arguments myself. I've used them to argue with Christians. I've done the same stuff. And I get it, man. I get it. And that's why I cannot defend inerrancy or infallibility of the Bible in regards to, every single word, blah, 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 blah. We have to take into context. What else on earth do we not take within context for discussion?
Right, but what I'm saying is there's certainly like a decent chance that there was like a Jesus who got crucified on the cross and then got buried in a tomb. It's not a zero chance. But the way the Gospels are constructed certainly leaves the possibility open that they're making theological claims. Specifically, the Gospel of Mark seems very much to be a theological tract that is like Peter, anti-disciples, anti-Jerusalem pillars, and is promoting the Pauline gospel. And Paul says flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. And in the Gospel of Mark, the body of Jesus never shows up after it's put in the tomb.
I gotta say, chat's savage as fuck.
I like how in the other gospel they make it like explicit. It's like he's a spirit. He's a spirit. No, I am not a spirit. I am bone and flesh.
Yeah. The other Gospels are like reacting to what Mark is doing, and Mark is the first gospel.
I get it.
Do you think that when Mark wrote Mark that he was thinking about all the other different gospels that were going to be written and like how it would be perceived by everyone, like 2,000 years later or anything? Or did he just testify?
He wasn't testifying. He was writing a very highly structured, highly poetic book about the understanding of like reason and wisdom as it was viewed through the Hebrew scriptures. And he wrote this book in a very deliberate way with very obvious metaphors that even like everybody understands that the fig tree story is not a real historical event, that it's a description of Israel being forsaken. Right?
Well, I mean, if Jesus curses a tree, it's probably going to die.
Do you think Jesus really cursed a tree because it didn't have fruit when it wasn't even fig season?
If it said that he cursed the tree and it withered away, then yeah, I believe that's true. Because what did Jesus say?
You think that's a true thing that happened?
When it happened?
That he cursed the tree.
He said, "Have faith in God."
The tree was dead.
Holy motherfucker. Oh, can't you motherfuckers just see that these are fucking stories? and Jesus Christ is something that is to be believed in, but you don't have to believe every fucking word of the fucking Bible. Holy shit.
Why are you more angry in the after show than the bloodbath? He should have
No doubt.
went bloody
Where is
in the
Yeah,
bath.
because JL wouldn't shut his fucking trap. Shut the fuck up about meta.
Wow, you're getting angry, man.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, wait, that's Taco. Hey, Taco.
I'm just saying, you're getting upset, dude.
That
Dude,
Canadian
okay,
trigger.
now I'm getting pissed off. What really pisses me off, and this is why this went so well with JL the first time, is because fucking Aaron was in here. Fuck that piece of shit.
I think
And
you're
also,
just
fuck you,
triggered because you lost.
for your fucking misrepresentation of Christianity, as it has to be every single fucking word true. Fuck you. You are not there. You are not God. You do not know the mind of God. If you tell me that you do, fuck you. You are not a Christian. Fuck off.
This is just being triggered, dude. Calm down a little bit.
Shut the fuck up, Taco.
Yeah.
Jeez. You make me miss Wiseape.
I don't know who that is.
Wasn't Wiseape the one who liked Malachi?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine that is probably in prison right now.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, that would be God.
Oh shit, Booty's just got a 2-minute mute. Oh shit. He's out for the count. Yeah, Wiseape was the really goofy guy. And Nobody on Fire says you will know them by their fruitiness. Thank you, you too. I appreciate those.
What's he in the bin for?
I can't. I don't want to share his personal business, but it sounds like he got set up, like based off of my conversations with him. Now, I'm not the ultimate judge, but I'm generally a pretty good judge of character, and I think my judge of character here is that he wouldn't do the stuff that he told me he was going to put up for.
Well, entrapment's a real thing too. So I don't trust the police.
Yeah. So Booties is muted, so I guess I can't really go further on that line. But DeFreak, let me just explain that you can definitely, you should read a book by Theodore Whedon called Mark, Traditions in Conflict, that was written back in the 1970s, long before a lot of the modern debates had taken place. But it's very much exploring what exactly the author is trying to get across.
But wait a
to
second.
me, it's very close to the interpretation I'm giving you.
Okay, but how does some dude in the 20th century know how some other dude is thinking way back when, 2,000 years ago? And how did Mark even conceive that this would be written, read
that Mark
into the future? Because according to most atheists, they should have been gone in that generation anyway, right? So why couldn't it have been that he just written down what he just testified to what he saw or whatever, and just wrote it down?
That's not what he did.
That's
not the book he wrote. That's not the book he wrote. Eusebius says that Mark was written by John Mark, who's a companion of Peter, and it was just Peter's disorganized.
Welcome back, Booties.
But that is not what the Gospel of Mark is. Mark is not disorganized. It's highly organized. It's divided into essentially 4 parts, and it's a very clearly literary construction. And if you read Dennis MacDonald's book on Homeric themes in the Gospel of Mark, it's very obvious he's also not just using the Hebrew Scriptures as a source, but also the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Wait a second. Hold on a second.
And why not? Why not?
How are you going to sit there and say it's highly organized and it's structured, but then it's taking from the Iliad and these other literature things, and you say it's a literal piece as well? It's either a summary or it's a literary piece. Come on.
Yeah, it is a literary piece. That's not a literal piece. Literal means something very different from literary. You know that great literature does take from other literature, right? So
exactly.
That is James Joyce wrote a book called Ulysses. Do you know why James Joyce did that? Because he's literally calling back to Homer. But it wasn't the same but it had similar themes and it addressed similar ideas.
Right. So, DeFreak, people have stories throughout history. Do you think if you are trying to spread what you believe is the path to salvation, would you simply state, oh, fact by fact by fact, or would you try to link it to things that people can identify it with?
I think, I mean, but that's going to be subjective. For me, I would write down what I recalled and what I would be able to testify to at that point in time. You know, I wouldn't be thinking about the future reader per se as much as getting the truth of my testimony written down.
Well,
okay, that's just me.
Then maybe that's why the Gospels were inspired by God, because they wouldn't take the path that you're describing.
Okay, but if that's true, then everything that Kurt just said is basically out the window. As many hours as he may have spent studying it, or whatever, if it's truly inspired by God, then all of that is out the window anyway.
No,
really.
No, me and Kurt are agreeing, which is weird. But
okay, DeFreak, I'm going to read you something that is literally the words of Jesus. Okay, it's literally what he said about the gospel, and he's saying that, so he say, God let you guys know all the stuff about how he stay king, but to other people on the outside, I teach them with stories. Gospel make happen to like Isaiah when they tell that God say, they see what I stay do, but they no can see for real. They hear what I say, but they no can hear for real. If they really went see and hear, then they gonna change. And I gonna let them go and hemo the shame for all the bad kind stuff they went do. Now, what that means is that for the people who can hear him, he is telling them a story that they can understand the deeper meaning in. But the outer people, the people who don't understand what he's really doing, they'll see it as like a real story that actually is a history. But the real reader, the really knowledgeable reader, will see that it is not being meant literally.
Can you read Ezekiel 20:49?
I don't think he even understood like the point you were trying to make. Like in that, it's clear that the author is like.
No, I understand the point. He just got one word wrong.
What word did I?
One word?
Wow, one word. Oh my goodness, Kurt, you got a word wrong.
From the pigeon? You've memorized the pigeon?
From the pigeon, right?
So Ezekiel 29, you're saying?
Ezekiel 20, verse 49.
20.
I think DeFreak's only been reading the Bible in pigeon since he started watching my YouTube channel.
So Ezekiel 20, verse what?
Wait, you have a YouTube channel?
4:9.
Ezekiel 24:9 or 20?
We're live on YouTube
49.
right now, dude.
What the fuck?
49.
Ezekiel 49? 40 verse 9?
Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 49.
Okay, Ezekiel chapter 20, verse
49.
Wow, it's long verses. Okay. Then I tell, the one in charge, the boss, the people talk lidis about me. They tell me he only tell the kind stories that make him look smart, but no mean nothing. Yeah. That's
okay. So basically, King James says, Lord God, they saved me. Doth he not speak parables? So part of that is just fulfilling prophecy.
No, it's not fulfilling prophecy, because you know what a prophecy is?
It's something that people wrote a long time ago, and then people in the future shifted narratives in order to think that.
Okay, but that's what they really are. But a real prophecy is I say something that either is going to come true or not come true, that I say in advance is a prophecy, and then it's a definitive prophecy that nobody can make come true, and it still comes true, right? The key thing is nobody can make it come true. I can't prophesy that my prophecy is that tomorrow I am going to go to Los Angeles, because I can just go to Los Angeles and make it come true, right?
Yeah, but is there a book written prior to you even conceiving your trip to Los Angeles that said that you would go
when
there?
Mark is writing the book that he is writing, when Mark is writing the book that he is writing, does the book of Ezekiel exist?
Yes.
So Mark could just read it and write as if it's being fulfilled.
So could have Jesus.
I don't think Jesus could write.
It's like saying, and I ate a breakfast taco today, and then a year, and that gets recorded, and then 5 years from now, Kurt says, today I ate a breakfast taco today, and the prophecy was fulfilled.
That
when
is
Howdy said he ate
sir.
a breakfast taco.
But even when Judas betrayed Jesus, he said, "So that the scripture may be fulfilled. Whatever do your thing."
Again, the person,
right? So like Jesus was aware of the prophecies and stuff.
No.
He was actively
the person writing the book knows about the other books. They don't know him that well. Mark gets a prophecy wrong. He says a prophecy is from Isaiah in chapter 1 when I think it's actually from Micah. But they know about the prophecies when they're writing the book. So they're writing the book to match the prophecies. That's why Matthew has the stupid thing where Jesus has his 1 foot on a colt and 1 foot on a donkey.
But Kurt, you literally just told me about these are the words of Jesus. Jesus literally said those words to Judas.
No, I'm not saying they're the words of Jesus. I'm saying they're the words of the author of the Gospel of Mark. Do you understand the difference? When
they're red letters, okay? But
when Stephen King
you just
writes
referenced a
Jack
red letter
Torrance
part.
saying,
you just referenced
and I'm
Jesus'
talking
red
about
letters
the
and said that I speak in parables for this reason, and then you just discounted or disregarded
but I'm actually saying
what he said to Judas, and those are red letters. Come on, dude.
The red letters don't mean anything. The red letters are just what Americans have put in their Bibles. They're nothing from God.
But then why did you reference them? Why did you reference them when you were trying to make a point
I'm talking about a story, and in the story, a character in that story says something. When I say that Frodo did something, do I have to always preface it with J.R.R. Tolkien says that Frodo did something?
Yeah, screw that turf.
I don't know what you're saying. I just,
you don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying when an author writes a book and a character says something in that book, that's the author saying it through the character.
Okay, so your point about the parables then is basically just bunk and hot air helium because you don't believe the words that he spoke to Judas was anything more than a character post hoc irrationalization making it up.
Is that impossible?
Oh my God.
Is that impossible?
I think it's cherry picking, literally cherry picking.
No, it's literary analysis of a book. When you read a Spider-Man comic, do you automatically assume that everything in it happened?
No, I assume it's all fantasy.
Okay, but what if Barack Obama shows up in a Superman comic? Do you then say, oh, Barack Obama is in this book, it must have been true?
No.
Right. So authors can use real historical characters in their stories, and that does not mean that the thing that the real historical character does in the story actually happened.
Okay, so those red letters shouldn't have been red letters in the Judas
the red
part,
letters are just what people in like late 20th, early 20th century maybe put into printed Bibles long after, like there's no red letter version of the Codex Sinaiticus.
I understand that, but when I say red letter, you understand what I mean, that those are the direct quotes of Jesus.
There are no direct quotes of Jesus that exist on earth.
Well, I mean, we don't know that for sure either. But what I would
say we almost certainly know that we don't have any direct quotes. We may have the ideas behind it, but we don't have direct quotes that people wrote down verbatim in that moment.
Sure, I understand oral tradition. I get it. I'm not entirely disagreeing with you. What I'm trying to say is that DeFreak. just because they are red letters, do you read only an English translation of the Bible?
Yeah, I only know English. I'm stupid American.
Gotcha.
Third generation.
Gotcha. So through that translation process, were all of Jesus's words perfectly transcribed?
I don't know, but it's close enough. And at some point you have to trust other people's work and their translations.
Gotcha.
You mean translated, not transcribed.
Otherwise, you know where you end up. You end up at a place where nothing is real, and you can't trust anything.
Well, here's the problem,
and
Defreak.
everything there's no foundation to it. And it's like next thing you know,
God.
you're sitting around and you're asking a bunch of dudes on the internet, "Is this real?" So come on.
Here's the problem, though. Now you're trusting the work of man instead of the work of God.
Yeah, but that doesn't get you very far because the whole gospel is the work of men.
The word of what?
What was that, Kurt?
The whole gospel is the work of men.
Well, I know you don't agree that it was inspired by God. I believe it was inspired by God, and that's fine. We disagree on that. But
every book ever created that you ever learned from was created by man.
Has corrupted
people.
It's very clear that we can agree on that.
It's so accurate, Defreak, to say that every book anybody ever created was created by men. Precisely.
Like God didn't just, poof, the magic book show up in your hand, even with Muhammad, right? So the mankind, the human or whatever, is the one who, compiled it, wrote it down and compiled it and, made it into a work. Okay.
Right. In the ways that allow for errors and mistakes and lack of memory and reconstructing things from the past or ignoring them to prove a point.
Right.
Okay.
And so this is my view on all of this. So, Defreak, would you agree with me that God could have delivered us a perfect Bible if he wanted to?
Yeah.
Why didn't he?
If it was too perfect, then I don't know, everyone would believe, and then there wouldn't be any reprieve, and some people wouldn't go to hell, which he said he would send some people to hell. So then we would call him a liar.
Not quite the route I was
fast.
I agree the acquiescence.
I'm not sure. That's not really an option. I can mute him for a couple minutes if you want. Would you prefer a 2-minute mute? Or I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Here, watch this. Does that count as a disconnection? Is that good enough? I think that works. Thank you for the super chat, Roland. I do appreciate it.
At least give him a 1-minute mute with the half disconnecting.
Perfect semantical word salad.
Roland will tell me if that works or not.
Just to be clear, Defreak, your response to the not perfect transmission of Revelation was that God doesn't want to reveal himself to people so that he can send them to hell. Was that your response?
There are a couple verses in the Quran that says that he will fill hell with jinn and mankind altogether. So if he outright showed himself, there would be no denial.
I think they were saying a mute Kurt. I'm putting a mute on Kurt for 2 minutes. I wasn't sure what he was saying there. Sorry, that's kind of confusing sometimes.
So he's not revealing himself because he wants to send people to hell.
He doesn't want to send people to hell, but if he doesn't, then we would call him a liar.
Oh shit! Nobody on fire just unmuted Kurt.
But he could have just said,
"Thank you, nobody on fire." Yeah, and Roland was saying mute. Yeah, just be a little bit more clear on those because it's really confusing. Because sometimes people just do comments and stuff.
But he could have just said, I'm not going to send anyone to hell, right?
He could, but if someone is hell bent rebelling against you and they just refuse to submit to your authority, and eventually everything would get destroyed because of that, are you going to not send them to get disciplined or to go away?
But he could just reveal himself to them.
He was already revealed in the heavens when 1/3 of the angels decided to rebel.
Not to that person.
Exactly.
So, like,
well, let me ask you this, Defreak. Do you believe in eternal suffering for temporal sin?
I think that eventually some things are discarded. So I don't know if when those are discarded, if there's going to be a continual consciousness that's going to be eternally tormented. If that makes any sense. Right. So like darkness, death, evil, those things will be discarded, and the people that are in that place, I don't know if their minds will shut off at that point or if they'll be eternally tormented. I'm not sure, but I do know that at a certain point, God has basically made a decision that if you're a rebel or a thief or a murderer or a whatever, and you can't learn anything more than that, then He puts you in your proper place, and there's no use for you for God because you weren't able to learn anything.
Based on what scripture?
Let me think about where I formulated that.
I like to challenge both atheists and Christians when they make these type of claims. Yes, I get it. You were told these stories. You were told these frameworks, and you adhere to them because you don't know any better. I get it. I don't know any better either. I'm not trying to make those claims, but if you're going to argue for inerrancy of the Bible and word for word type of shit, then you have to back that fucking shit up, bro.
Those were my original thoughts.
I can't even tell whose position is worse anymore.
So
God's.
In terms of your understanding, Defreak, you think that God wanted to send people to hell. How do you square that with Romans 5:18?
Say it's only for the elect. Say it's only for the elect. Say it's only for the elect.
I'm going to post the verse in a second as soon as I find it.
What do you mean the verse? Romans 5:18?
No, it's actually Quran verse chapter 38 verse 85.
I'm sorry, but your bespoke understanding
the Quran. This is the third time you've done it.
Not gonna deal with Paul's statement in Romans 5:18 that all will be saved.
I'll look at that. Romans what?
You're going straight for the universalist stuff. I thought you were going to do the for
Romans
God wills all men come into the knowledge of the truth. This is my friend Ace Theo's one of his favorite verses.
Are these two like a comedy routine for you?
Therefore, as by the difference of one man, one judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
So you're holding you're holding a hard all there in that, right?
Yeah, because that's the word.
And also the point of comparison is Adam. So unless you're going to point to people who are immortal and untouched by Adam's condemnation, then the point of comparison is all of humanity.
Okay, so based on that, though, what you're suggesting would mean that the eternal realm of light would actually have to retain and contain darkness that would have to remain
Paul's
there.
Very clear. Paul's very clear that after you die, if you have sin, it'll be burned out of you.
If you're a believer in Jesus Christ, yes.
No, everybody.
Okay. See, this is where you're cherry picking and assigning a whole block of meaning into one verse that
I'm reading
maybe
exactly
even in context, but that you have to Luke 4:4, you can't live by bread alone, but by every word of God. You have to apply all the word of God to this verse.
No, because I don't believe
it's inspired. What is worse? having a different interpretation or believing every single word of the Bible has to be the ones that you agree with?
Ask the question again. What's worse?
I think that's a howdy question.
Like, wait, what's worse? What?
Sure, howdy.
What was the question?
Is it worse to have a different interpretation of the Bible or think that every single word in the Bible has to be perfect and accurate like DeFreak thinks?
I guess it depends how bad your translation is. Or not translate, how bad your interpretation is. I guess like you could come up with something that's pretty bad.
It sounds like the same argument, like the same thing. Like it's the same thing.
And real fast, I'm not sure who Cody's asking this, probably to both the Christians, but how is Eve able to sin before eating the fruit?
She wasn't able to. She didn't have the knowledge of good and evil.
She was deceived, yeah.
It's not even like, yeah, she was deceived, but she didn't even know whether it was good or evil to listen to the serpent or listen to God's commands.
Wait.
She didn't even have the command from God in the Bible. The command was given to Adam, and that's why it's called Adam's transgression later in the Bible.
Okay, but so like DeFreak, I get where you're coming from, but Space Booties, you think the Garden of Eden was real and the story actually happened?
Hell no. What?
Okay. So you see it as a metaphorical event?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure DeFreak does not.
No, I don't. And I wanted to say too, when you said that when you referenced to me the Book of Melchizedek, the Dead Sea Scroll, I'm assuming that you read that, and so when you then followed up with the question about the rock and Exodus or whatever, you should have already known like kind of that concept that I explained. So, sometimes Kurt, like, you'll do anything to like kind of prove a point just to discredit the whole entirety of something, and it's slimy a little. It's just I don't understand.
I think you think I think something I don't think, so I want you to understand what I think.
But you had that knowledge though, and you still asked the line of questioning.
Written about God or Melchizedek or Jesus or Abraham or Noah or Gilgamesh or Ulysses or any of those books. I don't think any of those books have anything different about them from books by Stephen King or J.R.R. Tolkien.
I don't think he answered Cody's question.
How was Eve able to sin? She didn't sin. She was deceived. In other words, she couldn't even conceive of being deceived or committing evil, right? So when the serpent beguiled her, she couldn't conceive that the serpent was actually intending to try to deceive her. Deception was not a part of the mentality of someone like Eve.
So do you see the problem, Cody? Or not Cody, sorry. Do you see the problem, DeFreak? The problem Cody is bringing up?
I can see a problem, yeah.
His problem is that Adam and Eve didn't know right from wrong. No, they couldn't tell right from wrong. And yet, because they did something,
not even necessarily
even though they couldn't tell right from wrong, everybody's punished.
It's not even naive, it's incapable. And I get it, naive is a cool word for it, but she was literally incapable.
So it says that she even says that God told us that we cannot eat it or look at it or whatever, right? So she kind of knew that it was wrong, but she couldn't conceive that the snake. She couldn't conceive that the snake was trying to deceive her to eat it. Okay, she believed the snake. She believed God, and she believed the snake.
So okay, DeFreak, why should she believe what was told to her, probably from Adam? Not from God, because God didn't tell her in Genesis. So she probably heard from Adam. And so why should she believe what she heard versus what the serpent is telling her?
Well, the serpent didn't tell anything but truth anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, why should she not believe the current version that she's being told? Why should she believe either what God told her, maybe, or what Adam told her.
Because she had no conception of what a deception was.
Yep. Okay, but are you arguing that she should believe?
I'm not saying she should have. I'm saying that she did.
She heard a statement. Yes, we agree.
First of all, in Book of Melchizedek, it says that she was, she was taken aback or whatever. She was surprised that a snake could even speak in the first place, and they would play together or whatever. They would hang out, and then eventually the snake got her to eat the apple or the fruit. Okay, so like she had no reason to not trust him, and she had no concept of what not trusting someone was in the first place.
So she was playing fun games with the snake with no clothes on in the garden?
Yeah.
And the freak before, and so nobody on fire asked, before the snake was cursed, did he have legs?
I don't think so. No. No, I don't think so. I think it might have had wings, but I don't think it had legs. And I think they were like made of like rainbow and stuff or something. I'd have to read that part again.
So what was the curse about he would have to crawl around on his belly about?
That happened after they fell.
Yeah, but if he had no legs, he would have had to crawl around on his belly the whole time.
Well, that was after the fall, though, and after he was deceived and after she blamed him.
Yeah, that was the point of the question. Good job.
But you said she knew it was wrong. So did you take it that she knew right from wrong before the knowledge of good and evil?
No, I'm saying that she was aware that it was something that was told them not to do, but then she wasn't aware that the intent of the serpent was to deceive her into doing it.
So she did not know right from wrong before the fall?
She couldn't conceive of evil intent.
Is it like that's? I don't know if that's like synonymous with what I'm saying, or you're like being like.
I think
opaque.
That's the point of this super chat.
And then Cody says, if she didn't sin, how could she be punished?
Well, she did sin. I mean, it literally says it verbatim, but
you
don't need moral responsibility to sin.
Well, okay, so both Eve and Adam were punished, yes, but later in the Bible it says it was Adam's transgression. And I think that's why it makes sense to believe that Eve was not told directly from God, because it was Adam's transgression. He should have been whipping his dick out.
Well, I guess you don't like the letter to Timothy where it says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman, as one having been deceived, has become in transgression.
That's true.
I'll have to look that up. Thank you.
And then obviously in Romans where Paul explicitly states that sin is transgression of the law. That's probably like the is of definition.
Yeah, but Paul in 5:18 says Adam brought all the sin into the world as well.
Right. And obviously we have all read the guy who cut his own pee off's commentary on Romans, where he mentions that, well, the seed is in Adam. So like all of humanity was in Adam at that time. And so
yeah.
Right.
Was that Origin or Irenaeus?
This is why we have to read Origin.
Yeah, it's Origin. Yeah, people who say nobody took Matthew seriously don't know the story of Origin.
So as I'm reading, it's 1 Timothy chapter 2, like 9 through 15. This sounds a lot to me like simply straight up subjugation of women.
Well, here's the thing,
like subordination. The word is literally subordination.
She may have eaten first and caused, like the flesh to fall or whatever, but she also blamed the right person first.
Okay. Tacos, I got to get going, but love in this format. This is great. Really happy with it.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out and have a good one, Kurt.
All right.
I would love to have a conversation with you, Kurt. Fuck JL. But No, but yeah, I'm also gonna bounce too. But yeah, thank you, Taco, DeFreak, J Money, Howdy.
Yeah, see you.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, man.
Thanks again. Thanks for inviting me.
Hopefully you had a fun debate, even though you got bodied.
Yeah, I mean,
booty.
I knew I was gonna get bodied. But I would like to have a tiebreaker with JL sometime next week. And
you got to bring more heart into it. You had no heart today.
Well, I mean, I'll talk with you about that after. But I would like to figure something out for a tiebreaker. But
I think the audience agrees there's got to be more heart.
Well, okay. So, what do you want to talk about right now?
Did you take a paid dive?
We can talk about it later. I know you want to go. I'm just saying, there's got to be.
Well,
more
I don't want to like meta air fucking grievances all day every day.
Then don't.
Well, fuck you. I'll talk about it right now. Nah, we'll chat later. Thank you, Taco. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. God bless.
Have a good one, man. Take it easy, my brother in atheism.
So I just want to say real quick, like, Adam, first thing he did was blame Eve, right? So she blamed Satan, and that was the right thing to do. So she may have ate first, but she also blamed the right person first. Therefore, it's not appropriate for men in the church or any man or whatever to say it's all her fault, because he could have blamed the devil, but he didn't. Anyway, there's a little white knighting for you.
I mean, that doesn't. I don't know, man. All of that stuff is just fiction, man. You don't think so, man? You really believe this? You really believe this?
I don't even think he knows.
I mean,
what's being said,
for me, it's easy. I like I said, it's easy for me because I had a vision and a witness. So, like, yeah, I believe it. I didn't witness everything, but I believe God.
You're Wesley Curry number 2.
Believe me, I believe in something too, man. But dang, like the scriptures is clear. It's clearly a human behind that. I could clearly see the human being behind that.
Behind what?
Just trying to control the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Behind the scriptures.
Okay, but wait a second. You have thousands of years between authors, different authors writing different books that it makes up the Bible. So how do you tie that all together if it was all some sort of conspiracy?
Not a conspiracy, man. Listen, look, if I want you to follow me and obey me, right? What better way to do that than to transform my word into something divine? Now my word is divine. Now you have to listen to me, or you're disobeying God. You see, you're disobeying God if you don't follow me and what I'm telling you to do. That's what scripture is.
Okay.
Let's be real.
Okay, well, you know what? You're right. I mean, and that's exactly what happened with Moses in Egypt, and God proved himself. So,
who proved himself?
God proved himself when he, unleashed the different plagues on Egypt, because Moses would say, hey, let the Israelites go, their God is the one true God. And if you don't, this is going to happen. And, that's what happened. So, like,
I mean, according to who, the book, his own word, the stuff he wrote down.
right.
He says so, right? That's so basically it's like the primordial trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
Hey, DeFreak, do you know what heaven's like?
Yeah, it's a lot like what is described in the Bible.
You want to have a debate later on with Cody on that?
Sure.
There you go, Cody. We got you a debate partner for your heaven debate.
What's his argument?
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out in DMs on Discord. I was just lining that up for Cody because Cody wanted to debate somebody on heaven, and you seem very knowledgeable about Chrislam.
That's crazy. That's a good one.
Yeah, so yeah, that's fine. You know, I don't mind.
Serious.
Okay, so if you don't believe any of that, where do you think life was? What created life, or how did we come about?
The thing is, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You want me to? The thing is, you want me to put a answer to where there is no answer. Like, yeah, hello, can you hear me? Hello,
Am I
can
still
you hear
here?
me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, Cody, I didn't mean right now. I was saying we can set up a mega bloodbath, but if you want to chat, you're welcome to.
I just came up to clarify. The debate I'd want to have is if heaven's real, and I would take the side that heaven is not real.
Gotcha. You hear that, DeFreak?
Am I still on?
Which heaven?
Obviously, the Chrislam heaven.
Yeah, exactly. The Chrislam heaven.
The seventh heaven.
No, I can't. It's real spotty, so I'm not sure if it's me or you, but I've been having connection problems.
No, whatever
Hold on a
mics he's using is just really rough.
Is that it?
Hello? Yo, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, man. So I just don't understand how people take these scriptures so serious, man. Like it's clearly just fairy tales. Man.
I'm convinced it's delusion.
Is what? It's illusion?
I think it's delusion.
Oh, delusion. Yeah.
Like literal religious delusions.
No, I didn't hear it. I'm cutting in pretty bad, so I'm not sure what.
I can see.
Can you hear me right
delusion, for sure.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I get a lot of hate for saying that, but I'm very convinced it's religious delusions.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, how can you like look at this and just take it literal? Come on, man. Like, you know, you can
Like the
see
freak today literally said that snakes could have had wings before the supposed fall.
That's what I think. That's what I kind of agree. Like that's sort of what it is.
Gosh, that's crazy.
But you don't think that actually happened. That's what you think the scripture is saying.
I think it's like
Well,
implied.
I think that it was in the spiritual realm to begin with. Like it wasn't on the earth as we know it right now.
It was a spiritual snake that lost his spiritual wings. He had to drink some Red Bull.
You know, Red Bull got sued for that marketing.
Oh,
no way!
Yeah, dude, I got a pack of free Red Bull out of it.
Some dumbass.
Someone actually expected to grow wings.
It was a class action lawsuit, dude. All you had to do was put your name down, and you got a free pack of Red Bull.
Dang.
You just had to say you thought you were going to get wings from drinking it.
Was that one over in the UK?
No, there was one in the US.
Doesn't that go on your public record now, though? So if anyone looks at you, like, and they say that you thought that you would get wings from drinking Red Bull,
Probably.
Now you can't get a gun license. That's crazy. Now you can't get a gun license because you want to be funny.
I don't think you actually had to put that on there. I think it was just putting your information down. But that's basically what you were saying by doing that. I think they gave out like 100,000 cases of Red Bull, though.
It might as well.
Maybe I'm overshooting that. It might not be that many. It was a lot, though. They gave out a shit ton of Red Bull.
I haven't seen any of their commercials lately.
They still do the same advertising.
So yo, the freak, man, you take this Bible stuff literally, like everything about it, word for word.
Like I said, I didn't witness everything, but I believe God.
Yeah, me too. I think.
So if he says something happens, then yeah, I believe it's
But
true.
you not believe in God. You believe in Moses. You believe in the guy who wrote it down. Right.
Well, I mean that's what you're saying, but we have many different authors who also say that they received words from God and wrote them down, and that they're all still coherent and congruent. So your theory that it was just some guy trying to get power to basically hold over somebody and say, yeah, believe in me or my God is going to hurt you, is less plausible.
No, it's not my God is going to hurt you. It's him trying to transform his word into something divine. You disobey him, and now you're not disobeying him, you're disobeying God. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's an authority kind of power grab or something.
yeah, obviously you know it's that because look what's going on now today. There's still beef going on in the world today about what? Religion, scripture, not just one, all of them, Islam and this, that. They all killing each other all around the world. You think it's all civil like it is here in our backyard, North America? It's not the same when you travel the world with the same ideologies, man. Some places will still take your head off if you say the wrong thing about scripture and religion. You can't just do what we doing right now. You understand? So this
Yeah.
scripture thing is not.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
cold. You understand? And it's like it's clear. It's clear control. It's clear trying to just control you through your fear. They want you to be scared. You know what I mean? Like your
Well, this sort
love
of
is
anti-Christian
cool.
sentiment makes you terrorist adjacent.
Huh?
well, I mean, he's not wrong, because even if you're talking about atheists or people who don't know God and they're arguing in their flesh, the whole kind of the game is to gain moral high ground and to gain the authority of that conversation, so that everything you say after that is truth according to what you say.
Just so you guys
Right?
know,
Virtue
if I
signaling.
randomly end up converting here in the next few months, the FBI got to me.
Oh my god. Hey, you know what? If you have to believe to take a check, do it.
What's
Hey,
funny is
listen.
like, what if
I don't know.
becoming a Christian is the mark of the beast, where you can't do anything unless you're a professing
Yeah, go ahead.
Christian?
I mean, it's a fun thing to think about. Well, maybe not fun, but it's interesting to think about. But I don't think that's you know I don't think that's that's like telling a flat earther that maybe the flat Earth was a lie and everything else was the truth. It's not gonna like go over well in that
Let's just
group.
say Christian nationalism wins and they throw breakfast taco into the cell. Or would you be like, would you feel sad or would you like gloat?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be glad because I kind of know Tacos and his personality, right? So like, there's an attachment there. It's not like he's totally disconnected from my mind, but
I could still write him letters,
um,
probably.
that's but it's interesting what you're saying is that maybe Christianity is the mark of the beast, even though that's the message given to Christians, right? That would be like God gaslighting. That'd be like the ultimate gaslight of God.
Well, I mean, it
Yeah.
says in Revelation, well, Paul says that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light, and that people will think that the Antichrist is God, you know?
Well, yeah, but ever since the cross, Satan has no more right to the kingdom of light anymore, so he's not going to be doing that.
Oh, you don't think there's going to be like 1,000-year period and the Antichrist and the tribulation and all that good stuff in Revelation?
No, I believe all that, but I'm saying that since the cross, the devil doesn't have access to the kingdom of light and cannot bear as total light. In other words, there would be a blemish in him somehow.
Oh, well, I guess you disagree with Paul when Paul says that he disguises himself as an angel of light after the crucifixion and resurrection.
I guess I probably would. There's a way that Satan could preserve perfect being of light at this point.
I think the word it says like he schematizes himself. I'll have to double check it though.
So would that be equivalent to what's going on with Trump, where all the people think that Trump is like this crazy good person, and they'll like do an AI video of Trump saying like horrible things, and then people are like deifying him, and like, no, he must have said that for a good reason, just like they would do with God.
2 Corinthians 11, 13 and 14. For such are false apostles, fraudulent workers, schematizing themselves as apostles of Christ. And it is not marvelous, for he, the Satan, schematizes himself into an angel of light. Hence, it is nothing great if also his servants schematize themselves as servants of righteousness, whose end will be according to their works.
Which verse was that?
2 Corinthians 11, 14.
Cool.
So you got to watch out for those angels of maybe. Hopefully your experience wasn't an angel of light, because that might have been Satan deceiving you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that a lot, but no. Satan is not. Nothing is able to produce the love of God like God, or except God. But anyway.
Well, just because
going back to Donald
looks
Trump,
like an angel of light. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Tacos. I told you ham sandwich theory, right?
I think Taco got picked up by the FBI.
And he's probably having a ham sandwich. So yeah, ham sandwich theory. Basically, Donald Trump has everything it takes to fulfill Daniel 10 through 12. So what you're saying is not totally off key. And even though I support Trump, I know that he could be the Antichrist, and it maybe is.
Sorry, I was refilling my water bottle.
That's all right. I told you ham sandwich theory before, right?
No. But I can't believe you support Trump.
Yeah.
Do you really think that all atheists should be terrorist adjacent or terrorists?
No, I think atheists are. No, I was an atheist. Well, I was an atheist, but I mean, I didn't believe in God.
Were you a terrorist when you were an atheist?
No, I was a good person, and I know a lot of atheists are good people. So like,
how can you support Trump?
Because he's not. He doesn't judge you based
Trump
on your.
Trump signed that order.
What order? Which order? That if you're not a believer in Christianity, that you should be like put in a gulag or something?
That if you're anti-Christian...
Hang on, I'm pulling it up.
I would never say anything.
I mean, was this a Charlie Kirk
response?
Yeah, so I don't know. It probably, Trump troll is in full effect this term. That's for sure.
100,000 people got fired from the government yesterday or whatever.
But Howdy, you're familiar with Daniel 10 through 12, like the prophecies and everything, and the king of the north and the king of the south, and the the marriage and the backstabbing.
All right.
Oh, Antifa.
There are common or current motivations in indicia of indicia uniting this pattern of violent and terroristic activities under the umbrella of self-described anti-fascism. These movements portray foundational American principles, support for law enforcement and border control as fascist to justify purging acts of revolution. This anti-fascist lie has become the organizing rally cry used by domestic terrorists to wage a violent assault against democratic institutions, constitutional rights, and fundamental American liberties. Common threads animating this violent conduct include anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality.
I mean, Trump troll is in total effect this term. This could be literally a dig against against the FBI, because the fact that they actually investigated Turning Point. He's like, hey, you're going to investigate Turning Point? Boom, I'm going to do this against you just because I'm a Trump troll.
So you're a fan of that, EO?
This is a this was signed by the, let me see, National Security Presidential Memorandum for the Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Homeland Security.
So those agencies all pushed down that memo as to their new policy or something?
Correct.
Okay, so Trump didn't sign it though? Or he fabricated, or he what do you call it?
I'm sure it looks like it says Donald J. Trump on the bottom.
Okay.
So I assume that means he signed it. This was an executive order. This was a national security executive order.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Antifa hasn't been they're not Boy Scouts, right? So he's going to.
Were you Antifa when you were an atheist?
No, I was pretty much a centrist like I am now. I'm pro-choice. Trump.
Do you think I'm Antifa, or I even support Antifa, or would ever support Antifa?
Probably not, but I don't know all of your ideologies.
And according to
my first guess would be no, because
according to this to freak, I'm Antifa adjacent.
No, I would say you're left of center, and
what I'm saying is that according to this order from the president, I'm Antifa adjacent, if not Antifa.
I don't think so. I mean,
Trump. And then there's another executive order that defines Antifa as terrorists.
Right. Okay, so that's a separate one. This one is just saying that if they're anti-Christian, then they're
terrorists. They said Antifa is terroristic, and they defined them as terrorists. And then they released another order 3 days later saying that everybody else that falls into this is considered Antifa or Antifa adjacent. I'm not sure how it would be classified, to be honest, but it's either Antifa or Antifa, at least Antifa adjacent.
I mean, it sounds kind of like a loose guideline of how to, I don't know, look at suspects or something, maybe. It's kind of weird, but I don't think any of that would hold up in court. If they just went
and took if the Supreme Court is stacked, it would.
It's going to be hard to designate any.
Has Trump been stacked?
Any old regular
Court?
Left of center.
Has Trump been stacked in the Supreme Court?
Well, it's 5-4 now, right? So I don't know if you call that stacked, but
how many votes does it take to win?
5.
How many votes are Trump's butt buddies?
Like I said, I think it's 5-4 now, basically conservative, right?
I don't know how many people. I just know it's stacked. I don't know what the actual number is offhand.
I'm pretty sure it's 5-4 conservative. So I don't know if you call that stacked, but that's what it is. And Roberts is barely a conservative. By the way, I think that every 2 or 3 years, I think the justices themselves should have an internal vote as to who the lead justice should be. In my opinion.
Don't think most of the people that watch me would be considered Antifa according to this, and I don't think I would be considered Antifa according to this. Maybe Antifa adjacent, but because of atheism, but. I do think that there are a few people that come on the channel that would be considered Antifa, and I think that there's a lot, though, of left-leaning channels, though, that are going to get absolutely fucked by FBI.
But you have, these think tanks like Brookings Institute and shoot, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like Brookings Institute, where a lot of these like politicians that leave office, they go and they're part of the think tank of these places and stuff. You're going to have a hard time convincing a court that like to just blanket designate these as terrorist organizations because of this, Antifa order that Trump fabricated. Does that make sense?
44 or so percent of Project 2025 is passed. I don't think that anything is off the table at this point.
Well, it's getting late. I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side.
Take it easy, man. I was thinking the same thing. I need to watch. There's a new episode of Peacemaker out tonight. I need to watch the episode of Peacemaker.
Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, I'm going to stream tomorrow. I don't have a debate scheduled for tomorrow, but maybe we can do DeFreak and Cody tomorrow if you guys want to do that tomorrow. Heaven, we can figure out the topic in the morning. Saturday.
Friday night, Cody. Friday night special.
Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to stream on Saturday. I'm going to be hanging out with the kid all day. So
take a break,
maybe after like 8 or 9 when he goes to bed. But probably not before then. So maybe we'll do something Saturday, maybe not. I don't know yet. I'll figure that out on Saturday. But so don't expect anything Saturday, people, because I may just take the day off. But yeah, no, Cody, if you and DeFreak want to do that tomorrow, let me know. Yeah, as of October 2025, there is a 6-3 conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court. Roland says.
Yeah, but
Donald,
Roberts is a little squirmy. Like he can go either way on anything, and you just never know.
Donald, I see you in the back, but I'm getting ready to go watch an episode of Peacemaker and go to bed. I know I haven't been streaming as much, but I promise I'm working more than ever on this. I'm spending like hours in the morning trying to find any theist to come on for a bloodbath. So I promise I'm doing a lot of work in the background. But which is why I'm like I need to go to bed too, because I'm gonna be trying to find a theist from like 11 a.m. until like 2 p.m. probably. Oh, actually, no, we got Cody and DeFreak tomorrow. That's a lot easier, but that's pretty much how it's been every day. But I appreciate you all. You all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for all the support, everybody. You guys are all amazing. I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully a little bit earlier than 4. Just depending on maybe I can line up something for Saturday tomorrow. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I've been working on a sign-up sheet for the debates. So the theists don't like it though, because I put so-called theists on there. They don't like me pointing out that they are fake Christians.
That's right.